Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to discuss reasonable cause penalty abatements. Under a reasonable cause penalty abatement, the IRS cancels all or part of the accrued penalties and/or interest, but not the underlying tax liability. The OIC, in contrast, compromises the total tax plus interest and penalties for an amount that typically coincides with your assets, income, and general ability to repay the debt. With all IRS notices, the first step is to first check to see if the information in your notice is in fact correct. If you can resolve an issue in your notice, you may have no penalty at all. Reasonable cause is based on all the facts and circumstances in your situation. The IRS will consider any reason which establishes that you used all ordinary business care and prudence to meet your federal tax obligations, but were nevertheless unable to do so. The IRS will consider any sound reason for failing to file a tax return, make a deposit, or pay tax when due. Sound reasons, if established, may include fire, casualty, natural disasters or other disturbances, your inability to obtain records, death, serious illness, incapacitation, or unavoidable absence of the taxpayer or member of the taxpayer's immediate family. Other reason which establishes that you used all ordinary business care and prudence to meet your federal tax obligations, but were nevertheless unable to do so. Now remember, a lack of funds in and of itself is not reasonable cause for failure to file or pay on time. However, the reasons for lack of funds may meet reasonable cause criteria for the failure to pay penalty. Facts establishing reasonable cause. What happened and when did it happen? What facts and circumstances prevented you from filing your return or paying your tax during the period of time you did not file and or pay your taxes timely? How did the facts and circumstances affect your ability to file and or pay your taxes or perform your other day-to-day responsibilities? Once the facts and circumstances changed, what actions did you take to file and or pay your taxes? In the case of a corporation, estate, or trust, did the affected person or member of that individual's immediate family have sole authority to execute the return or make the deposit or payment? Providing documentation. Most reasonable cause explanations require that you provide documentations to support your claim, such as hospital or court records, or a letter from a physician to establish illness or incapacitation with specific start and end dates, documentation of natural disasters or other events that prevented compliance. Is interest relief available? Interest cannot be abated for reasonable cause. Interest charged on a penalty will be reduced or removed entirely when that penalty is reduced or removed. If an unpaid balance remains on your account, interest will continue to accrue until the account is paid in full. So then, how do you file for an abatement of penalties? If you believe you have an acceptable reason, you may send the IRS a signed statement requesting that the IRS remove the penalty and explaining your reason. Be sure to include specific dates, names, amounts, locations, etc., and provide copies of all documents that support your case. The more information you have, the better case you can make for yourself. Requesting that the IRS abate interest is much more difficult. The IRS will waive interest that is a result of certain errors or delays caused by the IRS. To request an abatement of interest or penalties based on IRS errors or delays, complete and submit IRS Form 843, Claim for Refund, and Request for Abatement. Also include with your request copies of all documents that support your case. You will need strong and convincing documentation. Send in this form to the IRS center where you filed the return for the year you are requesting the abatement. And that's another edition of Tax Tip of the Day. Do you have an IRS problem you need resolved? Call the licensed tax experts at Patriot Tax Professionals, 877-782-9383. That's 877-782-9383.